Hey guys, I told you that I would have a story for you tonight, and if you're new to this channel, whenever I post something about one of my personal stories, you may not even want to click on it if that's not what you're into. I tell a lot of my personal stories to help other people in their life, maybe just to let people know a little bit more about me, and everything's not about keto on this channel. Sometimes I teach people how to work on their own vehicles so they don't have to go spend thousands of dollars at a dealership. I am a master certified mechanic. I have over 400 certifications. I've been to almost 7 years of college to do this kind of stuff, and I figure if I can use my knowledge to help other people, then that's something that I should be doing. I think that's something God working through me, and me trying to follow the best that I can, because I'm a Christian, so I like to give back. And some stuff people really benefit from. If you see my videos that I've put out about automotive stuff, some of them have climbed to the top in the entire world. I have several car videos where I went from 10 views to more than 20,000 views, or more than 30,000 views. I accidentally even deleted one that was at 50,000 views because I was trying to edit the thumbnail and I deleted it. And maybe I should create a separate channel for that stuff, but I just figure, if I can give back, and there's any of you guys out there that are struggling financially, especially new, trying to be on a ketogenic diet, and something happens, and if I can help your life in a positive way, to even alleviate more stress, that's part of what my whole goal is to make people's lives better. So I like that to be part of this channel for right now, in case I may need, in case I can help one of you guys. So again, if you're new, I do apologize. Normally you'll see something along the lines in my heading that indicates it's a personal story, and by all means you can go ahead and bypass that. It's not keto related, but I think it's important with getting to know me. One of the things that happened in my life that was very interesting is when I got out of the military, I wanted to still be that energetic soldier that I was, but I just really couldn't do it. I mean, I didn't have the opportunity to do it. I've always been interested in being in the police force, but honestly, policemen don't get paid a lot of money, and I still need to make a healthy living. And the other gift that I was given, aside from being a soldier, was being a really good mechanic and possible mentor to many people. So my uncle knew that I was still hungry for that kind of action, and he does bail bond fugitive recovery, and he chases fugitives across the United States that have jumped bond. They don't show up for their court date and stuff like that, and then he has to go chase them down and arrest them and bring them in. But some bail bondsmen will get into the repo business as well. So not only was I going with him on fugitive recovery missions, but he started allowing me to go off by myself and actually do repos. And one of the jobs that he sent me on was a girl by the name of Ashley Brashear. She had 2 kids that were basically blown up in a meth lab fire, and that was her story. And I kind of knew what I was getting myself into when I was getting into it, but I didn't know. And you talking about the most ghetto white girl that you've ever seen. The pictures I've seen of her, wow. And then on top of that, the story that I read on her, and how they didn't even get nailed with their children dying in that fire, because they couldn't really prove that it was a meth lab fire, even though the police knew that that's what was going on. That's what they had a track record of doing. So he was trying to find her vehicle, and he couldn't find it. He already put a bunch of time into finding it, and I was hungry for money and action, and he said, look, I got a job. It's not going to be easy. It's going to take some thinking. And he said, I've already put a lot of time into it. I can't find this car. So he said, if you want to give it a shot, I'll give you her name. I'll give you some of the contacts and stuff. So I jumped on Facebook. I started researching her name. I got on like the white pages. I got on all kinds of different social media accounts. I found different relatives that were related to her. And I went to the town that she was supposed to be in outside of Jonesboro, Arkansas. When I showed up at the police station to check in, they said actually she don't live in this town anymore. We have record that she moved to the next town over, which is about 25 minutes away. So I drove about 25 minutes away to that town, and the gas station I pulled up in, it was late at night. I had taken my college roommate with me, and I just wanted somebody else to be there in case I got into some serious trouble, because I had a feeling this was going to be serious. And I needed somebody to drive the car if I was able to repo it. So if we don't have somebody with us, we can call a wrecker, but that costs money, and I want that money in my pocket. So I told my buddy, I said, hey, look, come with me for a couple hours. I give you a couple $100, and we'll just go from there. So it went from there to showing up in that town where the lady was at, and then going to the gas station. And sure enough, right when I pull up at the gas station, there was sheriff parked right in a parking spot out front. And I just kind of checked in with him. I said, hey, look, this is the VIN number of the car that I'm going after. This is the lady's name. Do you have any input on where I could find this lady at all? And he said, well, yeah. Just go right up here to this little service road. It cuts back in the woods. And he said, it'll be nothing but a tree line for a few miles. And we'll see no houses, no nothing. Then all of a sudden it'll open up, and there'll be a couple little homes that are like apartment homes. They look like ranch style homes with, they're divided in the center. And he said, look, I'm telling you right now, be careful with this girl. She'll fight you just like a dude will. She'll pull out a knife. She'll pull out a gun. It doesn't matter what it is. Be careful. So, I go in, I get my drink and stuff. I get back on the truck. I slowly proceed down the road. I turn down the little service road where he was telling me to go. I pull down there, and I find the address that the police officer had pointed me to. I pull up in the driveway, and my lights were flashing right on the house. Well, some old lady next door, she's probably 70 years old. I mean, I don't mean to be hateful or anything like that, but this woman she had no bra on. Her boobs were hanging down to her waistline. Her skin was like hanging off her body all over the place. She was in this really trashy, like booty short thing with her cheeks hanging out, and she ain't got no teeth in her. You can tell her teeth are like her mouth is all sucked in, and she's got a tall boy in her hand, and she's sitting there sipping this thing. And I'm going around, I'm looking in the windows and stuff, I'm knocking on the door, nobody's answering, and the lady next door says, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Come over here in my driveway. And I said, why would I come over there? And she said, well, my neighbors are there. You're gonna wake them up, and they got kids and stuff like that. I was like, oh crap, this lady's kids died. Maybe this is not the one. So I back out of the driveway, and I pull over to the split apartment in that ranch style apartment setup. I pull up in front of her, and she comes up to me, and she says, I thought y'all was the police or something. I said, no, I'm Ashley's friend. I'm just trying to get a hold of her. And she said, oh, Ashley Bashir? I said, yeah, that girl. And she says, well, that she moved a while ago. She lives in apartments across town. I said, you know what apartments? And she said, well, yeah, I do. She said, what are you looking for? I said, she still drive that white Grand Am? The Grand Am. And the lady says, yes, she does. And she said, I'll do anything for $20. And I said, anything for $20? Kind of like, what? And my roommate is standing behind me, and he gives me a nudge with his thumb, like he gives me a nudge in my back. Get it, dude. And I'm like, oh, no. I'm like, no. I've never done that kind of stuff, and I don't plan on doing it now. And he says, come on, man, that's you. Get the fuck out of here. We're trying to do a job, and you're over here messing with me. And he said, come on, I don't let he want some. And I said, no. I want nothing to do with this old lady. And I said, why don't you hop in the truck? I give you $40. $20 to show me where she lives. I give you the other 20 once we get there, and I get the car. She says, all right, I'm gonna have to make a story up. So she gets on the phone, and she calls Ashley up, and she says, hey, my boyfriend beat me up real bad, and I'm all banged up and stuff like that, and I need a place to stay tonight. Could I come over and stay with you? And the girl says, well, I'm at Ricky's house, and my phone's about to get shut off. You might want to call him and see if Ricky will let you come over. Well, she says, I don't have Ricky's number. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of the call, it ended. Well, she knew where this guy Ricky lived. So she said, let's go across town to Ricky's apartment. I said, let's go. So my buddy's on one side, I'm on the other side, and this nasty old lady's in the middle, and I feel like my skin is just crawling from some kind of disease or something that I'm going to catch if I even touch her. So I'm like scooting over as far as I can, like, don't touch her. So we get across town, we pull up in this apartment complex, and she gets out of the truck, and she goes up to this guy's apartment. And this guy's supposed to know where Ricky lives or have his phone number or something like that. I guess, I don't know what was going on, honestly. But she gets out and she goes into the apartment. And before the door could close, I hurried up and got out. And I went in the apartment and I followed her up the stairs. I went around the apartment and I stood at the corner where she was around down the hallway talking to this guy. And he, sure enough, it was legit. He had this guy Ricky's number. So she's punching it in her phone, but as she's punching in her phone, I'm standing there listening and I punch it in my phone. So I hurry up and I run back downstairs. She's still up there talking, doing whatever she's doing. She comes back downstairs and she gets in the truck. And she says, you know, I don't know. I don't know what his number is. I'm not sure I can find him. She says, you know, about that other $20. I said, nah. Is this his number right here? I followed you up there. I know what the number is now. You need to call that number. I'm dropping you off right here and you ain't gonna have a ride home. And she says, okay, you got me. So I go ahead and she calls this guy Ricky up. And we go across town again. And sure enough, when we pull into the apartment complex, there's the white Grand Am right in front of me. So I pull up next to it. I told my buddy, I said, get out and hurry up and VIN that car. Make sure it's the right one. So he gets out. He VINs the car. It's the right one. I get out. And then by law, I have to try to notify the people that I'm going to repossess their car. And I kind of had an idea on what apartment building it was because of where they parked. It had to be in the one, and there was open spots all around, but it was in the one that was like directly in front of where the car was. So we opening the doors and stuff like that. And he opens the door, and the ignition is like, it's an ignition that's in the dash part. It's not in the column. So like literally all the electronics plug into it. And they had some wires messed with it. I said, hey, try to get this car started. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to notify these people that we're going to repossess the car. So I have this like big 3-foot long mag light, and I take this mag light up with me. And when I'm up there, I finally get a knock at the top of the door, or I finally get an answer at the top of the door, and it's this. You can tell it's this big black guy. He's gonna kill me. I feel like this guy was like 10 feet tall and he had the deepest voice, and I was knocking on the door. He said, "Who is it?" I said, "It's Rich, Ashley's friend." And he said, "Ashley don't know no Rich." And I said, "Oh, for real, it's her friend. I got some money for her. I borrowed money," and I'm making up the story as I go. And I hear this guy start fiddling with the lock. And just as he opens the door, I step to the side, like the door opens this way. So either you can go on one way or you can go on the other side of the door. I stepped on one side of the door, and luckily, as the guy came out, I seen the pistol come up and break the doorway, and he turned to the left instead of to the right. And I took that mag light and I busted this dude right between his face. He started bleeding all down his face. He started to fall back into the door, and I kicked him in his belly, and I pulled the door shut, and I ran down the stairs as fast as I could. And my buddy, luckily, as I was getting down, got the car started. He said literally all I did was just plug the ignition back in, and it started because of the way they had the wires screwed up in this thing. So I get in the truck, I back out quick. He gets in the car, he backs out quick, and he starts following me out. We get down to the parking lot that's just right down the street, and we park, and we're like, dude, I almost died, man. That guy had a gun. I hit him in his face, and he's like bleeding all over the place. And I called the sheriff's department up, and I told them, we got the car. And they said, you better get the hell out of there as fast as you can, because that lady will hunt you down. Whoever she's affiliated with, get out of there. They will come after you. So we get about 10 miles away, stop at a gas station, and I swap with him. He gets in the truck, I get in the car, and the seat's busted, so it's leaned all the way back like you're laying down while you're driving. So I had to take they had a plastic bucket in the back seat, and I had to wedge it between the back seat and the seat to keep it up. And I had to drive across town with this thing before I could even like really pull over and put more fuel in it, because I wanted to get out of there. I just wanted to put a little bit in to get down the road. So I pull over in Jonesboro, Arkansas. I get more fuel. I get the car to my uncle's house, and my uncle's like, "Oh my God, son, you found this thing." And I was like, "Yeah, you wouldn't believe what I went through tonight to get this car." And I said, at this point, I don't know if I'm going to be doing any of these repos anymore. I mean, I did a bunch for him, but I was like, at this point, my life is a little bit more valuable than a couple $100 just to go have some fun and repo this thing. I could have died tonight. So it's one of the things that I remember, and I'll always remember, and it's pay your bills, people. Because there's a repo man, there's some redneck somewhere with a pickup truck that's more than willing to come along and just snatch your stuff up, and you don't even realize it. Pay your bills, pay your stuff on time, keep your credit good, because it'll follow you for the rest of your life. Okay, that's my story. I hope y'all like it. Sorry for the split in the video. for some reason, once I get to about 8 or 9 minutes, my YouTube cuts off, and then I have to go to an editing program to put it all together. So anyway, thanks guys. Thanks for being part of my life, and thanks for letting me share my crazy stories with you. And there'll be more. I appreciate your time. Keto on.